So today I am in a Corvette ZR1. This is the second Corvette I've ever driven. The first one was a Z06, which I will also be doing a review on that at some point. C6 Z06. I guess without further ado, we'll go ahead and get this review started. So a little bit about this specific ZR1. It's pretty much stock. It's got about a little over 3,000 miles on it. It's got some Corsa Sport exhaust on it, and other than that, that's pretty much it. So it's the 60th anniversary edition, which is really cool because there's a limited number of these. If you're driving this around, you're probably not going to see another one like it, and it looks really good, I think, with this white paint and the silver stripes on it. It just looks really aggressive, and I love the way it looks. So another thing that's done to this car is the 60th anniversary comes with a black wheel. These are an optioned machined wheel that they spec'd out for this car, or that they got on this car after they bought it. Another thing they did is the brake calipers on these are normally silver. They changed those out for blue ones, which I think looks a lot better. Kind of sets it apart a little bit. And other than that, it's pretty much stock. It does have a new clutch in it. These from the factory had an issue with the clutch, actually. So there's a new clutch in here. It feels really good. The shifter feels great as well. It's pretty notchy, but you're confident of what gear you're going into, and it's pretty short. One thing I always thought about Corvettes is that they're so wide. I thought it would be intimidating to drive, but it really isn't. Just casually driving, it's super easy. I'll roll up the window so you guys can hear me a little better. Feels really good. Cruising, it's super smooth, and I actually have it in sport mode right now. There's different mode options you can go through, so you can do sport or touring or other things like that. One thing I really do like about this car, just being in it for a little bit, is the seats. Actually, they're really comfortable. The bolstering could be a little better, if I'm being honest, but it holds you in there. I'm pretty slim, so it holds me in pretty easily. I'm gonna do a pull here. That's fast. I've never experienced a car where it holds you back like that. Like, I've heard people talk about it, and I've been in cars where it seems like I felt it, but I've never, I guess I've been in cars like that, but I've never personally driven one, and that's a crazy sensation. Second gear takes you up pretty high, and, I still had a lot of gear left, but, wow, that's really impressive. This exhaust sounds really good, too. You can hear it, and it's probably louder from the outside, but it's pretty subdued and tame from the inside, so you're not ruining anybody's day or anything, and it's not annoying to you when you're driving the car. Also a pretty highly optioned ZR1. I think they refer to it as like the 3ZR package. It's got the leather stitch dash, the Alcantara steering wheel with these nice notches here, volume controls on the steering wheel, hands-free voice stuff. You got the screen right here with navigation, heated seats, pretty much everything you could want in a Corvette of this generation, this one has. So as far as power goes, this has the LS9 in it, which a lot of people know. So basically, supercharged V8 for those of you that don't know, and it makes a ton of power. I'm not sure on the exact number, I'll have to figure that out, but I know it's in the mid 600. If you shift it slowly, you get some really nice pops and burbles out of the exhaust. It sounds really good. This clutch is great. It's not heavy at all. It's like the perfect weight. You know right where it's grabbing, but it's not like a violent grab point. This is one of those cars that it's kind of scary, but it's one of those extremely fast cars that anybody could get into, and they could drive it, and they could drive it well. And that's a really cool thing for a car with this much power. And I remember all the hype when this came out. A Corvette, which, still then, it was expensive, but it was still one of the, affordable, I guess American hypercars, you could call it that. I'll probably get some hate for calling it that, but, this thing could do 205 miles per hour, which, buying a Chevy that can go that fast, even in 2009, was impressive. whenever the ZR1s were really prominent on the scene. But I just turned onto like a back road right now, and we're gonna see how the handling is. The tires that are on here aren't the like Sport Cup tires that the owner of this car actually has that he can throw on here, but they're Continentals, and they feel really good. I don't know the exact like type, but I'll have to look it up, or I'll have to check, but they feel really good. One thing about Corvettes is I always thought they would feel really wide, but this really doesn't. You can see the hips of the car, and it's really easy to place it on the road, but it doesn't feel like overwhelmingly wide or anything like that. It's really easy to stay where you need to on the road. One thing that has surprised me so far is that the steering wheel, you kind of need to put a lot of input into it for it to respond to what you want it to do. And I don't know if that's just me barely getting to the point where you really have to turn in with this car, but that being said, it handles it no problem. You know, I'm taking these corners not very fast, to be honest. They're suggested to go around about 25, and I'm probably going around at 35, 40, which is no problem for this car at all. And this is one of those cars where I've noticed so far that you don't feel the speed you're going whenever you're going around corners. It just does it with ease, and you don't hear any complaints from it. Everywhere you go, people are looking at this car. Even though it's verging on like 8 to 10 years old, it still looks amazing. And you know, it's one of those cars that's just striking when you see it. Cars from like the mid to late early 2000s, their styling is starting to get to the point where, I don't know if I would say it's timeless, but cars like these don't go out of style as quick as they used to. Like if you look at a C4 Corvette or a C5, you know, they still look good, but this looks like it could have been released, you know, last week to a lot of regular people that are out there not really paying attention to cars like this, which is pretty special. And as far as value goes on these cars, you know, it's appreciated like anything else, but it's really one of those cars that in the future, it'll probably be worth a lot, especially one of these, the 60th Anniversary Edition. You really can't go wrong getting one of these. It's fun, and for the money you get a ton of power, and they're easily modifiable, and with an LS, you can't really go wrong. So going back to the interior, the shifter feels really good, which I mentioned, and the steering wheel is awesome. You know, a lot of people have said the Corvette steering wheels are basically just the Cobalt steering wheel, and that's true. But this one, it's really nice. It's got some nice silver trim on it. You have the 60th anniversary badge in the middle, Alcantara, and then these nice like 10 and 2 notches, or thumb cutouts, some people call them. But it feels really good. The interior is nice. It holds you in well. It feels like it's special while also being subdued. Like it's not intimidating. One thing that is kind of cool, looking over the steering wheel, you do have the heads-up display, as well as you can see the carbon fiber from the hood. So for those of you that don't know, pretty much every Corvette ever has been fiberglass, and this one, the hood is carbon fiber, and you can see it from here, and it looks really cool. It's just one of those touches that looks really good to match with the front splitter and the side splitters on this car. It's crazy how much power you have at your disposal with this car. I really thought this car would be more intimidating to drive, but it's just such a good performer that, you know, it handles everything for itself. If you put it in the right mode and you're not in the right conditions or not paying attention, I can see how it could easily get away from you, but that's just like any other car really with this much power. But for the power and the looks and everything, it's pretty subdued to drive whenever you're just driving it normally. But whenever you want it to get up and go, it'll get up and go, and it's fast. As far as visibility goes, it's lacking a little bit, I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of hard. The mirrors give you the bare minimum that you need. The overhead mirror, same thing. You really can't see much. You have about, I would say, if you put your fingers up to it, you have about an inch of visibility out the back, which is all you really need on this car. You can see everything just fine. But then the side mirrors, they're really skinny. Again, you can see they do their job, but you know, it leaves a little bit to be desired. But most of the time you're going to be looking ahead because you don't have to worry about the stuff in the rearview mirror that much unless you're changing lanes on the highway or something. And then going off of that, you know, there's kind of a big blind spot. I noticed when I was turning around earlier, whenever you're looking to your right, the B pillar is super thick because of the design of it. It kind of is an arch over the back of the seats, and then there's the hatch right after that. So they kind of have to do that for the structural integrity, but it does take away from visibility a little bit. But I think that's one of those things that can be forgiven for a car like this. The brakes in this car are also phenomenal. They're these huge brake calipers. I believe it's 6 pistons up front, and they do their job extremely well. Stock, it has a little bit of a low pit idle, just a little bit, nothing crazy, but I can't get over how smooth this car is. Even in the sport mode, it just feels really smooth. It's impressive. One thing I didn't expect going into this review is this car being so refined. You know, it's fast, it handles incredibly well, but it's also pretty refined for what it is. And you know, cars back in these days, especially GM, everything wasn't like super high quality, a lot of plastics and stuff. Things felt cheap, and you know, certain aspects of this still feel cheap. But overall, I'm impressed with the ride quality and the build quality of the 3ZR specifically. And I think it's really good. It's enjoyable to drive, it's comfortable, and just all around like a good grand tour. But also, if you want to take it to a track, it'll tear up a track too. And if you want to take it to a drag strip, it'll tear that up too, because it's just so fast. It's ridiculous how fast this car feels and just how fast it actually is. One thing that was mentioned to me is that third gear easily locks you out, so I'm gonna have to be careful with that, but we're gonna do a little pull here. Second gear, foot to the floor. Wow, that's insane. Wow, that is nuts. I'm honestly kind of speechless. I haven't had a car like make me kind of shake or get nervous with adrenaline, but this just did it. The car hasn't done that to me in so long, but this did it. It feels incredible. So we're getting up to some more back roads. I'll hit those, go through them, and then kind of just tell you my thoughts on that. Another thing that's surprising to me is that this car feels low, but it really feels much lower whenever you get out of it and step out of it. It just, I don't know, right now it does not feel that low to me. Wow. Alright, so my GoPro battery died, and the closest place to change it was at a golf course, which I think is really fitting because a lot of people that own Corvettes tend to go golfing. Wow. It takes corners like nobody's business. What a crazy sensation. This car is amazing. I love it. Wow. Shift face, for sure. Backfire there. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Wow. I love this car. I really do. After driving it, it's amazing. And I can't thank the owner enough for letting me drive this car. So there will be more reviews coming out soon of a lot of cool stuff like this. The Z06 that I mentioned. I'm going to be doing a lot of classic cars too, so something different that not a lot of people on YouTube do. Wow. So I guess that'll pretty much do it for this review. I'm going to turn the cameras off and enjoy this car. This car is amazing. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to drive it, make a video about it, and just get in something that has performance on another level that I've really never experienced that much. So again, huge thanks to the owner for letting me drive it, and you know, thanks for watching, you guys. It's amazing that I get to combine my passion of videos and cars and do things like this, and it's whenever I get to drive stuff like this that it really makes me appreciate it. So yeah, this car's amazing. I love pretty much everything about it. If I had any complaints, it would be that the interior could be a little bit nicer, but from the time period, can't complain. They greatly improved it with the C7, so GM's on top of their game with that. But yeah, all around amazing car, and I'm gonna keep driving it. Thanks for watching.